Yo, what's good, Grandma family? It's your man, Grandma G here, coming at y'all with yet another video. I mentioned in my previous vlog. If you haven't checked it out, go ahead and check that vlog out already. If you don't feel like watching 30 minutes, go ahead and put that joint on 1.5, 1.25 times speed, and you'll get through it a lot quicker. But I mentioned that I did hit my 2 years with Cowan, and I've been trucking for 5 years. I had my 5-year trucking anniversary on October 17th, 2022, and I hit my 2 years with Cowan December 18th, 2022. So me being trucking with Crown for 2 years was a huge shift from over the road. Like I've always said, local and over the road are two different things. Now, since I've been with Cowan, I've always been on the BJ's dedicated account. When I first started back in 2020, December 2020, for the first few months, everything was pretty much like, not everything, I'm gonna say more so it was like 90% drop and hook and 10% live unload. But since I've crossed into my 2nd year mark, I did notice that there were a lot of live unloads and not a lot of pallet loads just coming and getting live unloaded, not too many. It's still drop and hook, but I want to say it dropped from 90% drop and hook down to like 60% drop and hook. So I do sit a lot at some of my locations. I typically go to the same rotation of stores every day. I don't know if that has anything to do with me being here 2 years or if it has anything to do with where I run. But I did run into a few drivers that said that they don't run the New York region. I mean, they don't run New York whatsoever. I run New York. I didn't opt to not run New York. I didn't even know we could opt to not run New York. But apparently so, because I did run into multiple drivers that said they don't run New York. So they might get a different selection of stores than I do. When I first started, I was running New York, New Jersey, Delaware, PA, Maryland, Virginia. I was running those 6 states in this region up here. But recently, I want to say 5%. I'm gonna say that for the first 25% of 2022, I was still running all of those different states. But now I'm running just strictly New York. Like every day, I've been going to New York every day. And some days I do get tired of it. I did ask for a break a couple of times, and they only gave me a break like one time. But I just learned to deal with it, because if I didn't learn to deal with it, it's either I'd be miserable or find somewhere else where, like, I don't know, but I just didn't feel like it was enough for me to quit. I just learned how to flip my perspective with certain things. It is certain things that you deal with here that if you don't find ways around the way you think about it, you'll definitely be miserable and you'll be angry every single day. And I just decided that I'm not going to complain about everything. I'm just going, whatever I can, fix, whatever I can flip my perspective on, that's what I do. So that was how I felt about New York. Like I said to my dispatcher, like, yo, like I've been going to New York every day, like I need a break. It's just certain things that you deal with when you go to New York that you don't deal with when you run other areas. Like other areas you're gonna deal with cars driving slow, driving fast, cutting you off. But in New York, it's just like not a constant thing, and depending on the weather conditions, it could definitely get stressful. So I want to say New York definitely contributes to my stress that I experience when I do run here on a local account, because I go there like every day. Besides that, y'all, as far as the stores, because I go to the same rotation of stores, I know where I'm going to sit and I know where I'm not going to sit. Certain stores you go to, you ring the bell, they're not going to answer the door. Certain stores you go to, you ring the bell, they're going to be there. You might have to go on the inside. I don't really deal too much with rude staff inside of the stores. They're pretty, I'm not going to say they're all welcoming. Some people might not say anything. I greet everybody the same, no matter if I know if they're not going to speak or not. I just do that just for my well-being and my mental space, because I just don't be feeling like being in a negative vibe. Like I just don't. So when I go to these stores, I greet everybody. If you speak, you speak. You don't. It is what it is. But for the most part, the stores that I go to, the people are very respectful. Some stores you go to, you just gonna have to work around some things. Like I showed y'all in that clip of 363, you gonna have to back around some cars. You gonna be in some tight spaces when you go to New York. Not just New York. You gonna be in some tight spaces when you go to Virginia, when you go to Maryland. It's not really strictly to New York, but when New York, you just gotta be on your P's and Q's, because you got the low bridges, you got the bridges not marked correctly, you got the tight streets and all of those things. So that's a different ball game. Now, as far as how things have changed money wise, I want to say I think I spoke about it in my vlog, where I said that this year Cowan really hasn't given a lot of incentives like they did last year. Like last year, man, they was giving away money like it was no tomorrow. Y'all know I'm on a 5 day on, 2 day off account, and I work the night shift for those that don't know. So I work the night shift here. My start time is 8 p.m. I typically get here at 7 p.m. So once I get there, if my truck there, I start my shift. So, but I did sign up to be on an 8 p.m. shift. But like I said, when my truck there, I just start. So, um, I run a night shift personally because I know my temperament and I know how I am, and I can't deal with day shift local driving. Like if I opted for day shift just because of the convenience and because I just wanted to work a normal 9 to 5 type schedule, I would have been out here. I wouldn't still be here. I'm telling y'all that, I wouldn't even be local, to be honest with y'all. I would not even be local. I would probably be over the road regional somewhere if I really needed or wanted to work day shift at this point in my life, how I feel right now. Like I just don't have the temperament, the patience, should I say, for day shift. Like it's just things you deal with on a day shift that you wouldn't deal with on a night shift. The only thing that's wrong with driving a night shift is you do get tired, and sometimes when you come into work, or sometimes I'm gonna speak for myself. Sometimes when I come into work, my loads might not be ready. And I'm one of those get to work and go type of people. Like I don't like to sit around whatsoever. I like to get my shift done and over with. A good shift to me is 8 to 10 hours. Anything about that, I start getting a little I start being ready to go. I start getting a little irritated being at work. Natalie and Tom, I tell you, like if they ever offer or if they say, hey, we don't got enough, I'm one of the first people to go. Like I don't like to do the whole sitting around. I'd rather be, getting home, going to the gym, and not being in such a rush like how I would be if I get off of work late and then have to go to the gym and then come home, go to the street, stuff like that. So I don't like to rush a lot. So I'm definitely one of the first people to go home. They'll tell you that in a split second. So in the beginning, I was typically working like 10 to 12 hour shifts. Since around November, I want to say, of this year, November 2022, things slowed down. So I've been working around 8 to 10 hour shifts. 8 to 10 and a half hour shifts. And because I run New York and I get 32.50 an hour, my checks don't be as bad. Like they don't be where they usually be, but they are better because I'm making the $5 incentive per hour for going to New York. So I don't really complain too much. I don't even ask for much. I don't have, I just got the apartment and stuff like that, but I don't have a lot of overhead. So a low check wouldn't break me. And because I have the access to a 6 day, if I really needed the Monday, the extra money, I could work a 6 day or I could work a 7 day. They will never stop you from working extra days. So I just want to throw that out there to let y'all know. But typically when I come in, I like to get in and go. When I first applied here to Cowan, this isn't my first go around with them. I worked here for 1 month and I quit because I didn't like the different truck. Like I knew it was a slip scene environment, but I would come into work and they would say, oh, you're gonna take this truck, and then that truck isn't there. Oh, you're gonna go take that truck, I can't find that truck. You're gonna take that truck, it's assigned to somebody else. It just, that got really agitating to me because I'm a person, like I said, I like to come into work, get the job done, and I like to go. I don't like to do all the sitting around, hanging around. Like I run into people all the time and they be like, man, you getting paid by the hour? I'm like, so I work the night shift. I want to get in, do my job, and go home. The more I sit around, the more tired I get, and that's something I don't want to deal with. So when I experienced that, and I kept experiencing that day in and day out, and also they paid different during that time, I was like, I was fed up and I was really in an emotional state. And I said, you know what, at the end of the shift, I wrote on, I said, at the end of the shift, y'all get your keys. And I gave them the keys and I quit. And y'all see, I'm back and I've been here 2 years now, so things have definitely changed. I've been in the same truck for a year now, 222557. I never complained about the slip seat and environment. It's just I knew what to expect from it. Now the guy that I share the truck with, he don't always fill the truck up. I always fill the truck up when I come in. But sometimes if I come in, it is a big inconvenience when you have like a truck on 3/4 of a tank or half a tank, and now you got to be inconvenienced going to the fuel stop because the loves it's not always an in and out, and it's really hard to gauge. So that's like a pet peeve, but that was something I also learned how to change my perspective on, because I knew like it's gonna be an instance where when I come in, like when I used to come in and I would turn the truck on and it wouldn't be full, I would be like not upset, like angry, but I would be annoyed, like. But the more and more it happened, like before I was getting the same truck, the more and more it happened, I just was like, you either gonna be angry your whole shift and gotta fuel, or you just gonna suck it up and gotta fuel. So that's how I started thinking about it, because I was just like, I don't want to start my shift off angry. Like, that just trickles down into everything, and you still got a whole shift to do. So that was one thing that I dealt with. But I've been in the same truck, so I know what it does. I know the issues. It don't really have too many issues. The only thing I complain about with that truck is it's slow. Like, when sometimes the crews work, sometimes they don't. That's the only thing I can complain about with the truck. As far as dispatch, I already told y'all, I used to work with Bill and Mark, but they switched over to the day shift. So now I work with Tom and Natalie on the weekdays, and on the Sundays, I have like brief interactions with dispatch from other terminals. Usually it's terminal up in Massachusetts, I think. Or sometimes it'll be somebody from Maryland. But for the most part, I interact with Tom and Natalie. Tom, he is one of those dispatchers that's so freaking laid back. I think he's one of those dispatchers that's like super laid back. That's one thing I like about Tom. He's really laid back. Natalie, I already spoke about Natalie. She used to be a driver here at Cowan. She was a driver here for some years, for a long time. So she's pretty cool, like I mentioned before. Those are the only two that I interact with now. I don't have any issues with them. They just get my loads, and they communicate and let you know, like, hey, this was going on, that's what's going on. And then, like I said, this year, it's been towards these few weeks, it's been like a lot of sitting, a lot of like trying to figure out what it is that you're going to do. It's been some things done that where you just feel like it don't make sense. Like during the Thanksgiving season, they had last year Thanksgiving, I worked. This year Thanksgiving, they had something going on where they said after 2300 you wouldn't have no runs. So they ended up taking my loads from me to give to somebody else, because they said that person had been sitting for a long time, and then they had to figure out what it was that I needed to do. And I was like, I felt like that was kind of backwards. I'm like, that really doesn't make sense. So inconvenience me because somebody else was sitting, and now y'all have to do the same exact thing that y'all had to do for them for me. So I ended up getting off early that day, and I felt like, dang, yeah, it wasn't no point in me even coming into work. But I was just like, it is what it is. I'm already here. And as far as the DC, y'all, I ain't gonna lie, the yard jockeys in the DC, they could be assholes sometimes. Like sometimes they'll stop in front of you, like all of that space, and they'll literally like stop dead smack in front of you. They'll come by while you're backing. I'm gonna show y'all some stuff that I had inside of my phone that I was saving for this very moment. I'm about to show y'all in real time the downsides of being local. All right, so I'm at the DC right now, searching for my trailer, 93258. I'm literally walking in between the trailers down these rows because I wish I could flip the camera around. They don't have no space here. So drivers are forced to park their trailers like that horizontally in front of the trailers right here. So now your in and out time, my in and out time used to be like 20 minutes. Now it's about 45 minutes to an hour in the DC just for one trailer. 93258. So if you decide to come to the BJ's, just understand that right now, I don't know if it's gonna get fixed or anything like that, but this is the reality. Hold on. I found no luck over on this side over here, so I'm about to hop in the truck and go to the other side and see if I can find it over there. That's the only place it could be. Frustrating, definitely, but it's better to not get yourself all worked up, because at the end of the day, as long as I continue to work under this position, it's something I'm gonna have to deal with. So I'm gonna see if I can find it, let y'all know when I find it. And this is what we are looking like right now, family. It's crazy. I can't make this shit up, yo. Can't make it up. 93258, that's what we looking for. I'm in the last rows of trailers where it could be. So I'm gonna walk down this way and see if it's over here. I was really hoping that it wasn't in this section here, because this section right here is the worst, because the very front row of trailers is is the docks. So whenever they doing they live unloads, it get chaotic. So everybody, they either come to the second row or they come straight to the back. When they come straight to the back and they see, okay, the spot they told me to put it in is filled. Oh, I see trailers parked, so I'm gonna go ahead and park my trailer there too. And sometimes they aren't considerate in how far in front of a trailer they'll park. So it's like, okay, one trailer, cool. But then they'll park like a trailer directly in the front of this. So now if you wanted to do the yard jockey job, because you're really gonna have to do their job if you wanna get out, you can't get to it because your truck is too big to fit in between the two trailers. When I say if Schneider was blocking your trailer, or not Schneider, but if the Cowan trailer was blocking your trailer and you needed to move up or something like that, I've been saving like so many things. I haven't even really been uploading, but I've been saving so many things to put in this video here. Like, it was this period where the DC just got like super crazy, and I had gotten this headspace where I was like, yo, if this continue on like this, I might have to go, because it started getting like dangerous. You started having to do the yard jockey job. You started having to, you know, it was one time I was in the DC. I was in the DC for like 2 hours just trying to search for this trailer. And I was like, yo, like I'm about to just go. Like this is not even where it's at. But I'm gonna show y'all some clips of what was going on. And that was a first. Like, I went through the whole 2021. I had never dealt with anything like that. And then 2022 came, and it was just a whole different ball game. And then out of nowhere, it just went back to normal. And I was like, what changed? I didn't understand what had changed between, you know, the 2 days prior to that day. And that went on for like a while. That went on for like a month or two. I can't even remember how long it went on for, but during that time, I didn't even really feel like up to recording, because it was just so much going on and so time consuming that I didn't even have time to record. So I did record some stuff to show y'all, like, this is the reality. And if y'all follow me on Instagram, y'all know what I was showing y'all. So that was a one-time experience. Something else that I want to speak about that I didn't know, something that I want to say is a negative. Is Cowan does not set aside sick pay for their drivers. I don't know about their other workers, but you don't get set aside sick pay. This is the first company I ever worked for where you don't get sick pay. I want to, in October or November, one of the two. It was like late October, I think. I ended up catching COVID from where I don't know if it was at work or home. I don't know, but I ended up catching COVID. So I was out of work for 5 days. And I had thought that we had sick pay. So once I came back, before I came back into work, I hit on my dispatch, was like, hey, are you who I talked to about sick days, da-da-da. They was like, yeah. And I was like, hey, well, can you put in my sick days? So he went to put in my sick days, and he contacted me back and was like, yo, payroll said you don't got no more PTO. And I was like, so we don't have sick time? And it was just like, no. And you know, I was kind of upset, because I was like, damn, like, you know, this is the first company I ever worked for that didn't set aside sick time for their workers. Like, we're like, no type of sick pay, nothing whatsoever. So I ended up working that Thursday, because I had got a negative test. I had got 2 negative tests. So I ended up coming back to work, and I worked that Thursday, and that was the only trip I had on that one check. And I don't know, that was one thing that really threw me off. I was like, dang, like, I never heard of a company not ever like setting aside, you know, sick time. Like, they take your PTO for your sick time. That's really weird. Outside from that, y'all, the only thing that'll probably have you on edge is like the sitting around and waiting. If you one of those go type of people like me, like, I just can't stand sitting around doing nothing. I can't stand sitting at the fuel stop waiting the fuel. I can't stand doing none of that. Even when I used to go to some of these stores, I'm like, damn, I've been here for 2 hours and he's still not done unloading me. I used to get like antsy, like, I'm ready to go. I still got a whole nother run to do. And sometimes that's another thing I wanted to mention. Sometimes they pair the wrong stores together. Like, they'll give 156 and then they'll give you Kamek. That's all the way out. That's like 100. That's like a 2.5 hour, almost 3 hour drive. give me 156. 156 hold you till 12 o'clock, and you still gotta go all the way out to New York. Like, and you gotta sleep in the truck where the idle keeps shutting off. You can't get comfortable. All of that. That's one of the things I want to say is also a con. Like the way that the stores are playing together. Like I started learning how to just woosah, and I just learned how to deal with knowing that after I sit at 156 or whatever store holds you for a long period of time, that I'm still gonna have to do this New York run. Like, they give me 165 at the 156 or 165 at the 67, Club 67, or 165, or they give you 143 after sitting in Delaware for this long time, like 178, that still holds you up for a long time too. So it's like, I had to learn how to adjust my mind to realize, to understand that, it's very annoying to have to sit somewhere for a long period of time and then still have to run another load after that being local, because after a while it just, you don't get the proper rest inside of that day cab. Like if I had a sleeper truck, you'd be like, okay, I could lay in the back or something like that, but I got a day cab. It's very uncomfortable to try to lay around and get some sleep, So that's another thing I want to say as a con, like the way that they pair stores sometimes. And then also when they don't really have anything for you to do, it's like busy work. It's like trying to find you something to do is almost like dummy missions. Like, oh, that load didn't come out yet, so you almost feel like you on a dummy mission. Like, hey, well, go do this instead, and then we'll see what's gonna happen next. Sometimes it just feel like busy work. Like one time I was in the DC, and they had me looking for empties. Like all they kept giving me this long list of empties, and I couldn't find not one of the empties. And then the ones that I did find, they had pallets in the back. And I that was another day where I was about to write them like, hey, y'all can send me home. Like, I'm not about to keep riding around inside this DC looking for these trailers. And because this is like one of the only places that I've ever worked where you need a pickup number to get an empty. Like, I never worked for somewhere where you need a pickup number for an empty. I always know you just tell them, hey, I need an empty. You come in there, you get the empty. When I work for Prime, you come in there, you get the empty. When I work for Crete, you come in there, you get the empty. Here, you gotta get a whole pickup number for an empty. Or you could sit outside DC while drivers is coming in and flag them down and hope that they have an empty, and they could give you your empty. But that's the only way you can get an empty. But lately I haven't had to look for an empty or need an empty for anything. That's that on that. Now, I do want to put out there that anything that I put in my videos is my personal experience. It's only what I experience doing what I do. I run night shift, BJ's, dedicated, local, out of Burlington, New Jersey. I don't know anything about any other accounts. I don't know anything about any other shifts. I don't know anything about any of that. So I don't know what other people deal with. I can only explain to y'all my experience from what I'm experiencing up until that point when I make that video. So it could be things that I didn't experience that somebody else experienced, or that I experienced that somebody else didn't. So just take that with a grain of salt. I always tell y'all, take what people put in their videos with a grain of salt, because it's always going to be a time where somebody else might experience something better or worse than you experienced, and then you might feel a kind of way about it and think that, oh, this person might have lied to me or something like that. I always be transparent in every single one of my videos, and I always be transparent when people chat with me. Like, I have people that came over to Cowan, multiple people, not just one person, two people, not just three, many people have come up to me like, yo, I came here because of your videos or whatever. I don't get no incentives. I don't get no referral bonuses. I don't get anything. I can show you all my pay stubs. I don't get nothing extra, nothing more than the next driver. I don't get no extra incentives. I don't get no type of bonus for promoting the company. I don't get nothing, no type of gifts. I don't get anything. So I don't have any incentives for, putting out the information that I put out. Somebody might think that I'm being ultra positive or something like that. It might be just the way that I relate a message. Like, I don't know. But people can tell you, like, I've been transparent. I had people contact me that worked at other terminals that didn't have the best experience. I don't know about other terminals but Burlington. I had my own brother come to this company from another terminal that had not a good experience, and he left. And I said, hey, sorry, I didn't know that was going to be the experience down there. I only know what's going to be the experience up here. That's what I had up here. And it's a guy that came here. That's the one guy that put me down as a referral. Shout out to him. He know who he is. I run into him all the time. He used to work on a flexible local account, and we chatted. And I told him to switch to local. He switched to the local side. He run day shift, and he still likes it here. He's still here. That's the only person. I don't. I don't sugarcoat anything. I don't try to paint a perfect picture. I don't try to put out misinformation or incorrect information. I can only speak about my experience and my experience only and what it is that I do. So take with a grain of salt if you decide to go to a different terminal or on a different account than what I am on. And understand that it's gonna be slow periods, it's gonna be up periods, it's gonna be down periods. It's gonna be time where you might feel like you on a goose chase. It's gonna be times where people don't do what they supposed to do. It's gonna be times where you might have to report something that somebody else didn't report, because that does happen a lot, where drivers might not report damages or repairs that need to be made, and now you're stuck with the inconvenience. It's gonna be times like that. It's gonna always be like that when you work with other people, because everybody don't have the same morals, and everybody don't value things the same way. They like, hey, they'll take a trailer with a flat tire or nail in it, knowing it's a nail inside the tire. They'll take it to a customer knowing the tire running flat, and then you get there and you like, oh, snaps, like this tire flat, and you gotta wait for road assist. That's another thing I want to throw out there. Cowan doesn't have the Cowan versus Prime. Prime has a more contacts, more connects, more resources, I want to say, than Cowan. And granted, they're a bigger company than Cowan anyway, but when it comes to road assist, you do wait a longer period than you typically would, than I typically experience when I worked at Prime. Like when I worked at Prime, it used to be like, all right, road assist, here go to ETA, boom. Cowan is like a whole nother story. Like if you broke down somewhere, you be having to, wait for road assist to come out and fix something. You don't know. I mean, they just started a system where you get a text message and you get updates and stuff. But before, you didn't used to get no text messages, no updates. And sometimes dispatch wouldn't communicate with you if you was working with a different dispatch outside of your usual dispatch. They wouldn't communicate with you. They'll just be, you'll just be sitting there, waiting and hoping that the people will show up sometime soon, and they'll give you a phone call or whatever. But that's another thing I want to throw out there. And something else that I can throw out there about here is what I don't like is that you can mark off a damage on something, and then somebody else could come behind you and they could be willing to take it and then remove the damage or remove the repair request or something like that, depending on what it is. And then you might end up stuck dealing with whatever it was that was wrong with it. Like it done been times where before I got the set truck that I have now, where it would be like a truck and I would hear like air leaking or something like that. And I reported, like, I'm not taking this truck. I hear air leaking back. I hear all this air leaking or some type of noise coming from back there. I'm not taking it. And then you'll get assigned that same truck like a little bit down the line, and it's still doing the same thing. You're just like, no, I'm not taking it. So it's gonna be drivers. It's gonna be people that's gonna do what you're not gonna do. And anytime it's people that's gonna do what you're not gonna do, you're gonna deal with inconveniences. So with that being said, yo, that's all I can say about my review. That's all I can say about my 2 years so far. For those that did watch the goal that I wanted to hit, video financially, I did hit that goal. I did not work I only worked 6 days out of the whole 2022. I had to go to work 13. I only worked 4. I just decided to choose myself, and I was like, hey, if I want to work a 6 day, I can work a 6 day, but right now I just don't need it. And my financial goals or anything like that. They aren't attached to me. They just something I want to hit. If I hit it, I hit it. If I don't, I don't. But I've been able to live comfortably. I don't have any kids. I'm not married. I have a partner, yes, but I'm not married. I don't have any kids. I live by myself. I have my own apartment now. I pay my own bills, and I'm not, struggling or wanting for anything. I'm able to make it. It all depends on what it is that you come into it with, and what it is that you expect, and what is your overhead and stuff like that. I spoke about that when it comes to switching over to local, period. Your bills and stuff gotta be in order. You can't be taking on certain things depending on what account and how much you get paid. And if you ever decide to go to any company, no matter if it's Cowan, Prime, whatever, you want to take what is the lowest amount of hours you could work, multiply that by whatever your pay rate is, and ask yourself, is that an amount that I could deal with if that is what's to happen? And then you multiply by the high end. You could always take the high end and be optimistic with the high end, but make sure that you could deal with the low end. See if that's something. Now, if it's something you could deal with every once in a while, not something that's consistently happening. Now, if it's consistently happening, then you might have to find you a better place to go. But if you're happy where you're at and things are working out and your pay is good enough for you, then you stick around. Don't ever leave somewhere because somebody else according to what they have going on projects onto you, that's not enough, or you shouldn't settle for that, or you could get paid more somewhere else. I done ran into situations like that, but that's for a whole that's for a whole another video. Or that's a whole nother topic for a different video. This is just like my review on letting y'all know about my experience. 2 years still kicking it, y'all. I don't have any regrets on coming here. Yes, I do get agitated about going to New York every day, but I just learned how to put my perspective on things that I can't control. And that's all I had to say, y'all. Become Grandma Certified by the bell. Join our Grandma family by subscribing, and I will see y'all next time.